For the people who are watching this who didn't see the assembly, you were speaking a lot about systemic change. Could you briefly tell our viewers what you were the strongest points of that systemic change, of bringing your expertise into the same field as women for Women's Day?
Absolutely. So collective impact is basically predicated on the notion that the way that the social justice sectors are set up right now are largely designed to incentivize isolated impact, which means that there's a lot of organizations working towards the same great goals and doing amazing work, but they're all working sometimes at cross purposes and definitely not in concert with each other. And that means that their reach and the impact of their programming is limited. So collective impact proposes that we bring all of these actors together, pool these resources, and really mobilize entire sectors around common agendas and singular goals to achieve the outcomes that we're looking for.
Here in a school environment, what would you say would be the first thing that students can do to get involved and help be part of this collective change?
Be an active citizen, get engaged, that's step number one. If you are a passive voice in a tide of change that's happening, you actually can stem the flow of that tide. And so I think that's step number one, is get involved in any way that you can around anything that you're passionate about. And then once you're involved in those areas, start connecting dots as much as possible. I work in the food security sector, and I started by volunteering for one organization. And then I started volunteering for 2 and 3 organizations. And then I sat on the boards of those 3 organizations, and I brought them together, and then we started making change at a bigger level, having bigger impact. And so I think that it's a slow, gradual process in order to engage in collective impact, but even an individual can start that process, get that ball rolling.
What do you see as the first most important challenge in tackling inequality for women in the world? Big question.
Big question. I think finding our voices and lending those voices to the struggle in whatever way is meaningful to us. And it can be anything. I have a very varied kind of history. I struggled with addiction in my life, and bringing my voice. And when I'm now in a place in my life where I have seen a lot and accomplished a lot, I can bring a stronger voice to addiction issues in the world. And so I think it's really hard to find your voice. It's really hard to find strength and courage to be bold and to act in these ways. You really put yourself out there, but there's so much strength and vulnerability, and it's a beautiful thing. So I think find your voice and lend it to the struggle any way that you can.